Peace be upon you, dear viewers and listeners. Welcome to our Islamic Finance channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most debated and controversial topics in modern Islamic finance. Are cryptocurrencies halal or haram in Islam? Bitcoin, Ethereum, and thousands of other digital currencies are revolutionizing the global financial system. Trillions of dollars are flowing through blockchain networks. Muslims around the world are asking, can I invest in crypto? Is it permissible in Shariah? Will my earnings be halal? These are not simple questions with simple answers. This is why we've conducted extensive research, studied fatwas from leading Islamic scholars across the globe, analyzed the technology behind cryptocurrencies, and examined real-world use cases. Over the next 15 to 18 minutes, we will present you with a complete picture. The arguments for, the arguments against, and most importantly, practical guidance for Muslim investors. So whether you're a crypto enthusiast, a skeptic, or someone just trying to understand this phenomenon from an Islamic perspective, this video is for you. Let's begin. Before we can determine whether cryptocurrencies are halal or haram, we must first understand the foundational principles that govern all financial transactions in Islam. Islamic finance is not just about avoiding certain practices, it's about establishing justice, fairness, and ethical conduct in all economic dealings. First, prohibition, Riba. Interest or usury. Allah the Almighty says in the Holy Quran, Allah has permitted trade and has forbidden riba. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 275. And in another verse, Allah warns us in the strongest terms, O you who believe, fear Allah and give up what remains of your demand for riba, if you are indeed believers. If you do not, then be warned of war from Allah and His Messenger. Surah Al-Baqarah, verses 278 to 279. These are among the harshest warnings in the entire Quran. So what exactly is riba? Riba, in simple terms, is any guaranteed return on money, without taking any risk and without providing any service or labor. It's the concept of money making money, simply by the passage of time. This is exactly what happens in conventional banking. You deposit $1,000 in a bank savings account. The bank promises you 5% interest annually. You take no risk, you do no work, yet you receive $50. This is riba, and it is categorically forbidden in Islam. Why? Because it creates economic injustice. The borrower carries all the risk, while the lender receives guaranteed profit. It leads to exploitation of the poor, concentration of wealth among the rich, and economic instability. Islamic finance offers an alternative. Profit and loss sharing, where both parties share in the risk and the reward. Second, prohibition, Gharar, excessive uncertainty or ambiguity. Gharar refers to transactions that contain excessive uncertainty, ambiguity, or deception that affects one or both parties. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, the Prophet forbade the sale of Gharar. Sahih Muslim. Let me give you examples. Selling something you don't own. Selling something without clearly defining what it is, how much it is, or when it will be delivered. Selling fish still in the sea without knowing if you can catch them. These are all examples of Gharar. Why is Gharar prohibited? Because it can lead to disputes, injustice, and one party taking advantage of another's ignorance. Islamic transactions must be transparent, clear, and fair to all parties involved. However, scholars distinguish between minor Gharar, which is tolerated, and major Gharar, which invalidates a contract. Buying a house without inspecting every single brick is minor Gharar and is permissible. But buying something completely unknown or undefined is major Gharar and is forbidden. Third prohibition, Maysir, gambling and games of chance. Allah says in the Quran, O you who believe. Intoxicants, gambling, stone altars, and divining arrows are but defilement from the work of Satan, so avoid them, that you may be successful. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 90. Maysir refers to any transaction where the outcome depends purely on chance rather than effort, skill, or economic fundamentals. Casinos, lotteries, betting, and certain forms of conventional insurance fall into this category. The key distinction is this: investment involves calculated risk based on research and analysis. Gambling involves pure chance, with no underlying value creation. In investment, you analyze a company's fundamentals, market conditions, and make an informed decision. In gambling, you put your money on red or black and hope for luck. Now that we understand these three fundamental prohibitions, we can analyze cryptocurrencies through this Islamic lens. Do cryptocurrencies involve riba? Do they contain Gharar? Are they a form of Maysir? These are the critical questions we must answer. Before we discuss the Islamic ruling, let's make sure everyone understands what we're actually talking about. What is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is digital or virtual currency that uses cryptographic technology for security. Unlike traditional currencies issued by central banks, cryptocurrencies operate on decentralized networks based on blockchain technology. Think of blockchain as a digital ledger that records all transactions across a network of computers. No single person, company, or government controls it. Every transaction is verified by network participants and recorded permanently. This makes it transparent, secure, and resistant to manipulation. Bitcoin, created in 2009, was the first cryptocurrency. The mysterious creator, known only as Satoshi Nakamoto, designed it as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system that would allow people to send money directly to each other without going through banks or financial intermediaries. Today, there are over 20,000 different cryptocurrencies. Some, like Bitcoin, function primarily as a store of value, digital gold. Others, like Ethereum, provide platforms for building applications. Some are designed for fast payments, others for privacy, and still others for specialized use cases like supply chain management or decentralized finance. The key characteristics of most cryptocurrencies are decentralization. No central authority controls them. Transparency. All transactions are recorded on a public ledger. Security. Cryptographic technology makes them extremely difficult to counterfeit or double spend. Limited supply. Many cryptocurrencies have a maximum supply cap. Bitcoin, for example, will never exceed 21 million coins. Borderless. You can send cryptocurrency to anyone, anywhere in the world, instantly. Now, from an Islamic perspective, the question is, does this technology align with Shariah principles? Can digital currency be considered real money? Is investing in it permissible? Now we come to the heart of the debate. The Islamic scholarly community is divided on this issue. Let's first examine the arguments of those scholars who have declared cryptocurrencies to be haram. The Grand Mufti of Egypt, Sheikh Shaki Alam. In January 2018, Egypt's Grand Mufti, Sheikh Shaki Alam, issued a fatwa declaring Bitcoin haram. His reasoning was based on several concerns. First, he argued that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Unlike gold, silver, or even paper currency backed by governments, Bitcoin is not tied to any real asset. It exists only in the digital realm. Second, he highlighted the extreme price volatility. Bitcoin's price can swing 20, 30, or even 50% in a single day. This level of instability, he argued, makes it unsuitable as a currency and too speculative to be a legitimate investment. Third, he pointed to the use of cryptocurrencies in illegal activities. Drug trafficking, money laundering, terrorism financing, and tax evasion have all been facilitated by cryptocurrencies' anonymity features. Supporting such a system, he argued, indirectly supports these criminal activities. Fourth, he noted the lack of regulatory oversight and consumer protection. If you lose your crypto through hacking, scams, or your own mistake, there's virtually no way to recover it. No central authority can reverse transactions or provide recourse. Summary of the haram position. Let's summarize the main arguments from scholars who oppose cryptocurrency. 1. Lack of intrinsic value and tangible backing. 2. Extreme volatility, making it unsuitable as currency. 3. Association with illegal activities. 4. No regulatory oversight or consumer protection. 5. Excessive speculation, resembling gambling. 6. Contains elements of Gharar and Maysir. 7. Not recognized as legal tender by legitimate governments. These are serious concerns raised by respected scholars. However, this is not the only perspective within the Islamic scholarly community. Now, let's examine the other side of the debate. Several qualified Islamic scholars and Shariah advisory boards have concluded that cryptocurrencies can be halal under certain conditions. Mufti Muhammad Abu-Bakar, Blossom Finance. One of the most comprehensive Islamic analyses of Bitcoin comes from Mufti Muhammad Abu-Bakar, a Shariah advisor and founder of Blossom Finance. In 2018, he published a detailed paper titled, "Is Bitcoin Halal or Haram?" A Shariah analysis. His conclusion? Bitcoin is halal. His reasoning is methodical and grounded in classical Islamic jurisprudence. First, he addresses the question of whether Bitcoin can be considered money. In Islamic law, money doesn't have to be gold or silver. The Maliki school of jurisprudence, in particular, has always held that anything people accept as a medium of exchange can function as money. Bitcoin is a legitimate medium of exchange and store of value. Spot trading of Bitcoin is halal. However, he warns against futures trading, margin trading, and other derivative products which do contain prohibited elements. Summary of the halal position. Let's summarize the main arguments from scholars who support cryptocurrency. 1. Money in Islam doesn't require government backing or physical form. 2. If a community accepts it as payment, it functions as currency. 3. Blockchain provides transparency, reducing Gharar. 4. Bitcoin is decentralized, preventing manipulation. 5. Long-term investment based on research is not gambling. 6. The technology itself is neutral. Permissibility depends on usage. 7. Just as paper money replaced gold, digital currency is a natural evolution. These scholars argue that dismissing all cryptocurrency as haram is overly simplistic and doesn't account for the nuances of the technology and various use cases. Here's where we get practical. Not all cryptocurrencies are created equal. Some may be halal. Others are definitely haram. And many fall into gray areas depending on how they're used. Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency most scholars are willing to accept as halal with conditions. Why? Because it's decentralized. No company or government controls it. It has a fixed supply of 21 million coins, making it deflationary rather than inflationary. It functions as a store of value, similar to digital gold. It's transparent. All transactions are publicly recorded on the blockchain. Ethereum. Ethereum is more complex. It's not just a currency. It's a platform for building decentralized applications using smart contracts. The Ethereum network itself is generally considered halal because it provides genuine utility. Developers use it to build applications. However, many applications built on Ethereum involve interest-based lending, gambling, or other prohibited activities. So the ruling is, if you're buying Ethereum as a long-term investment in the technology platform, it's likely halal. If you're using Ethereum to participate in DeFi protocols that offer interest or gambling dApps, then your usage is haram. Now let's be crystal clear about what is definitely not permissible. Futures and leverage trading, completely haram. This is gambling, pure and simple. When you trade crypto futures or use leverage, you're not buying actual cryptocurrency. You're betting on price movements. With 50 times leverage, you're controlling $50,000 worth of crypto with only $1,000. If the price moves against you by just 2%, you've lost everything. This is Maysir, gambling. And it's categorically forbidden in Islam. The fact that it's dressed up in financial terminology doesn't change its nature. It's betting on price movements with borrowed money, and it has destroyed countless lives. Meme coins and speculation tokens, Haram, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and countless other meme coins have no real utility, no technological innovation, no genuine purpose. They exist purely for speculation. People buy them, hoping to sell to someone else at a higher price. This is the definition of gambling. There's no underlying value creation, no business fundamentals to analyze. It's pure speculation, and engaging in it is haram. Tokens connected to haram industries. Definitely haram. Some cryptocurrencies are specifically designed for use in gambling platforms, alcohol companies, adult entertainment, or other prohibited industries. If a token's primary purpose is to facilitate haram activities, then owning and trading that token is itself haram. You're directly supporting prohibited businesses. My dear brothers and sisters, we've journeyed through a complex topic together. We've examined the technology, studied the scholarly opinions, analyzed specific use cases, and provided practical guidance. So what's the final verdict? Here it is. Cryptocurrency itself is neither inherently halal nor inherently haram. The permissibility depends on three factors: which cryptocurrency, how you acquire it, and what you use it for. If you're investing in established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum through spot trading with the intention of long-term investment without leverage or margin, and you pay Zakat on your holdings, most contemporary scholars who permit cryptocurrency would consider this halal. My dear brothers and sisters, we've journeyed through a complex topic together. We've examined the technology, studied the scholarly opinions, analyzed specific use cases, and provided practical guidance. So what's the final verdict? Here it is. Cryptocurrency itself is neither inherently halal nor inherently haram. The permissibility depends on three factors: which cryptocurrency, how you acquire it, and what you use it for. If you're investing in established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum through spot trading, with the intention of long-term investment, without leverage or margin, and you pay Zakat on your holdings, most contemporary scholars who permit cryptocurrency would consider this halal.